Hi, this is Joe again with another review. Excuse me. For this video, I'm going to be discussing the 1990 film Days of Thunder, starring Tom Cruise, Robert Duvall, Nicole Kidman, and we get into that more in a minute. Michael Rooker and Randy Quaid. So this movie is basically Top Gun on a racetrack. Exactly what it is, folks. Because it's the same production team behind the Top Gun produced and directed this movie. It's the same producers and the same director as Top Gun. And it has the same star, Tom Cruise. So it's basically because it's Don Simpson and James Bruckheimer produced it. And you had Tony Scott who directed both Top Gun and Days of Thunder. And they cast Tom Cruise as the lead character. Because Tom Cruise plays almost exactly the same type of character he played in Top Gun. He was a young rookie race car driver who wants to win the Daytona 500 and eventually race it and win it. And of course, throughout the movie, he has this team behind him, and it's led by Robert Duvall. Which, at this point in Tom Cruise's career, he has acted with top-notch talent. From In the Color of Money, of course, he was Paul Newman. Top Gun, of course, with Kelly McGillis. It was the first time that he was really the lead star. You had, of course, Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman. And we can go on and on with his career. And now he's starting with Robert Duvall. And also it has Randy Quaid as this big shot sponsor, recruiter, this team leader who puts all the money together for the car stuff. And during a particular race, Tom Cruise got into a rivalry with Michael Rooker's character. Now, those of you who don't know who Michael Rooker is, I mean, he is a good character actor. He's been in a ton of movies. He played Chick Gandol in the movie 8 Men Out, which is like 1988, over 30 years ago. He was in the Al Pacino movie Sea of Love. He was in, of course, this movie, Days of Thunder. And he was in, of course, the crazy movie The Serial Killer, Henry, which was one of the most controversial movies that ever came down the pike in the early 90s. But now he plays race car driver and Tom Cruise's top nemesis but rival on the NASCAR circuit. And the two of them were going back and forth in one particular race, and both of them get into an accident, and both of them end up in the hospital. And Michael Rooker's character was worse off than the two of them, and he had to have major surgery to stop bleeding in his brain as a result of the accident. And so that they had. And so the doctor had him be played by Nicole Kidman. Now, of course, like I said earlier, this was the first movie that Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise did together. They did another one called Falling Away, which is, of course, not as good. But this was the first movie they met together, and of course, on the set, not only in the course of the movie, the two characters, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, of course, fall in love with each other, and they fell in love with each other in real life, resulting in a marriage which lasted a few years, until eventually, of course, Nicole Kidman came around and divorces Tom Cruise because of the whole Scientology stuff. She decides to, divorce Tom Cruise because a lot of it, but anyway, this is where they met, on the set of Days of Thunder, and she was Tom Cruise. She played Tom Cruise's doctor in this, and of course they ended up falling in love, getting the hots, doing the nasty, and then doing the nasty took a lot shorter time in Days of Thunder than Tom Cruise and Kelly McGillis. In Top Gun, it took a much longer time to get to that moment. But anyway, that was going on when Tom Cruise's character was out. He wasn't allowed. It wasn't cleared to race yet because he had concussion. He had busted ribs and stuff from the accident. And then when he was finally cleared, he couldn't get a sponsor anymore because he didn't trust Tom Cruise enough, because he was afraid they would get hurt again because of the accident, and that type of thing. And like that, but during a race, he blew out an engine. He didn't pay attention to the meter. Because all he knows how to do is physically drive the car. He doesn't know any of the other technical details of how to keep the car in good shape during a race, so the engine will blow out, the tires will blow out. He doesn't know the technical stuff. He doesn't know how to drive fast, drive hard, and try and win races. So when that stuff was going on, you had Michael Rooker's character who couldn't race, and when Tom Cruise couldn't get a sponsor anymore, he says, "Oh," and everybody's urging him, and especially Nicole Kidman's character, urging, "Oh, why don't you see, the other driver, Michael Rooker's character? Why don't you see him? Why don't you go visit him?" So what for? The guy's a jerk. Why should I visit him for? And he says, "Just do it." So Tom Cruise finally sees the guy and tells him, "Oh, they had to have surgery, and he cannot physically race anymore." So Tom Cruise says, "Look, why don't I drive your car in Daytona?" And at first Michael Rooker was reluctant from the door, and then eventually he came around and he said, "Okay, I'll let you do it. I'll let you drive my car." So he gets his car. Tom Cruise gets his endorsements, his sponsors, and decides to drive his car in honor of the guy. Respect for the guy, said, "Okay, I drive your car and stuff." And the sponsors signed off on it. So of course, guess what happens? Big shock for those who didn't see the movie, because you know what's going to happen. You know that Tom Cruise is going to win the race at the end of the Daytona 500 at the end of the movie. You know that's going to happen. It's very predictable movie. Like I said earlier, in the title of the review, it's like Top Gun on a racetrack. That's exactly what this movie is, folks. It's Top Gun on a racetrack. And if you like Top Gun, you're going to like this one. But it's exactly the same formula. It's exactly the same, practically the same premise. But the only difference between Top Gun and Days of Thunder is that nobody dies in Days of Thunder. Okay? That's the only difference, that nobody dies. Unlike in Top Gun, where Goose dies in the end of Top Gun. But spoiler, for those who didn't see Top Gun, if you haven't seen Top Gun, where you guys been? But all joking aside, Days of Thunder is, it's a good movie, and brought in the racing genre to movies. Because even though this one kind of tanked a little bit, it gets us big reviews when it came out, because like it says Top Gun on a racetrack, but it brought in the whole racing genre, because you had the Disney Pixar film Cars, you had Talladega Nights, you had a couple of other racing films that came out after this. Years later, true, but still it counts. This started the whole, I think, racing genre pretty much, or at least brought it back, because I think there were other racing films like in the 50s and 60s, but this was a movie that really started that genre. So this is my review of the movie Days of Thunder. Please click on the video, please rate it, please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel, RowdyC.com, that's over WTY, and C.com, that's a homepage and Rowdy reviewer Christine Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, catch you next time.